What's up guys, welcome to my channel. So I did a massive Q&A for you guys. This is part 1. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the first question. So I love you, please enjoy the video. Give it a thumbs up if you don't mind, and I'll see you on the way out.
What's the hardest challenge you have ever had to overcome, and how did you get past it?
Dang, you guys don't play around. Straight out the bat, what is the hardest challenge you've overcome? And I think I've actually decided, since I've seen a lot of these questions, I've decided that I'm gonna make a my story video for my own channel. You guys know that Awfully originally did a video for me, and that was the first time that I ever shared my story. And then from there, I've been on different podcasts, so I kind of feel like I've told it a lot, but I guess I've never made it like an intentional story for you guys. So I'll save you guys the long story, but just kind of give you like a little quick insight into kind of like the hardest part of my life thus far was probably growing up. I had this like picture perfect family, and then behind the closed doors it wasn't necessarily perfect though. Me and my family, my siblings, we experienced a lot of physical and mental abuse from my mentally ill mother. So it was really difficult in that sense growing up, but it's all that we knew. We loved our family and it was perfect to us. Fast forward to senior year of high school, my parents divorced. It was a very, very ugly divorce, very hard for the entire family. Situations happened where all of a sudden everyone was with my dad, I was with my mom, and then had to get out of that situation with my mom, and I was all alone. I had my car, and I had all my belongings in my car, and I was a freshman in college. I was working 3 jobs. I at times didn't have a place to sleep other than my car. If you can take one scenario, imagine in your head like this picture perfect family with routines that they do together, having dinner, salmon, asparagus, and brown rice like every single night together. Take that same girl a few weeks later, put her in her car alone with no one to talk to. That's where I was at, and that was a very hard moment in my life. That entire year was very, very difficult for me and very lonely. What kept me going through those times was knowing that there was something else for me, knowing that this situation was not now my life. A lot of people, they get into really hard or bad situations and they think to themselves that this is now my life. No, this isn't your life. This doesn't define you. This is just a little phase and maybe something really difficult that you're going through. And now being on the other end of it, I see how much of a character building experience that was for me. And I'm thankful that I went through that. I'm thankful that I know what it's like to sleep in your car in Houston, Texas, and not safe areas, because it's taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about myself. It's made me stronger as a person. I'm able to relate to people in ways I probably wouldn't be able to relate if I didn't go through that. That was the hardest struggle that I went through, and I'm really, really glad that I went through it.
What's the biggest life accomplishment you have achieved?
When I think of that, I think of going to expos and having you guys come and being able to meet you in person and hear your stories. Just that incredible feeling of like, this is a dream. Like, it literally feels like a dream when that's happening, and I literally like soak in every single moment. The only thing that matters is like the person that's right in front of me. You'll see me, like if you're ever there, my eyes are like locked into their eyes. I'm wanting to know them. I'm wanting to like know where they've been and how I've been a part of their journey. So for me, my biggest accomplishment has been being able to be a part of the change in other people's lives. It's an indescribable feeling, and I know that other friends who are kind of in the same position as me, you guys know what that feels like. People who go out of their way to make differences in their own community, whether that be job, work, neighborhood, whatever. I know you guys know what that feels like too. That feeling is like the best feeling in the world, and that's why I continue doing this.
Why have you stopped making videos? We miss you.
I haven't stopped making videos. Make sure you're subscribed, and next to the subscribe button there's a little bell. You can press that bell so every time I upload you guys get notified. I don't make videos like every day or anything like that. I make them as often as I can, but the reality of it is YouTube doesn't pay my bills, YouTube doesn't pay my rent, YouTube doesn't pay for food for Vinny. Even with all of my amazing sponsorships, that stuff doesn't pay all my bills. So at the end of the day, I have to find a way to continue to pay my bills, and that's kind of what it comes down to. If I were able to be a little bit more financially free, would I do it more often? Probably. If you guys see me putting out content, it's because I'm either paying somebody to come with me, video me, edit, or I'm videoing it myself and I'm paying someone to edit on the other end, because I don't have the time to give to it. YouTube is something that I will always do. It's something that I will always invest into, even if it's just a little bit right now, because I do it not for the money. If I did it for the money, I would have quit YouTube a long time ago. And I'm still here. Even if it's just one video a week, you guys will continue to see me, don't worry.
How long have you been working out?
Let's see, I grew up in the gym because my dad owned a gym. I've always kind of worked out. I've always done things like shoulder press. I've done abs since I was like literally probably 6 or 7 years old. But I started like consistently really lifting in like, I want to say it was 2010, 2011 is when I started being very, very consistent with it. And wow, it's almost 2018. That's crazy. So about 8 years of really consistent like bodybuilding style training.
What is the most amount of beers you've drank in one sitting? Also, what do you bench?
That's awesome. The most amount of beers that I've drank in one sitting is a pitcher of beer. So I think that's like, what, 6 or 7 beers? It's because Texas A&M, if you guys don't know, this is my Aggie ring. A whoop! I went to Texas A&M University, class of 2012, very proud. Your senior year, you basically get your ring, and then you have to dunk it in a pitcher of beer, and then you have to chug it, and you have to get all the way to the bottom until you have your ring in your teeth, and you smile and take photos. It's like a big tradition. You throw this like massive party, and your family's there, your friends are all there, everyone cheers you on. You usually do it with other people. I did it with 2 other girls, and I will proudly say, I believe my time was 36 seconds. It was very difficult. I hope that response surprised you. I don't bench press anymore, but when I used to, I don't remember. I'll look back. I remember there's a photo of me when I first started lifting with my dad, bench pressing. I want to say it was probably something like under 100 pounds. I have no idea.
Hey Emily, what would be your advice for somebody wanting to compete but has an eating disorder?
That's a great question. First off, if you have an eating disorder, I would say to talk to a specialist in that field. I'm not a specialist, so I'm not able to give advice for that, but just my personal opinion. If you were a personal friend of mine, what I would tell you is don't compete. And that's just the honest truth that I have, and I feel like other people may have other opinions, and that's okay. Competing is a very extreme version of fitness. Competing does not equal fitness, and it does not equal health, and oftentimes it pushes people to extremes. And if you've ever been at an extreme already, then you're more susceptible to go back to that extreme. I think that you can find happiness. I think that you can find your best physique. I think you can find health in other ways other than competing. I think competing is a hype, and it kind of makes everyone feel like maybe they should. I don't think it's a good option for you. I think it's too extreme.
What would you say the turning point in your life thus far has been? We've all noticed it, and your happiness has been radiating into your audience, especially my life. I can't thank you enough for that.
I think I've had quite a few turning points in my life, and I think a lot of that is me slowly just like unraveling everything and like exposing like who I really am. And I think ever since I was little, I've known who I was. I've been true to who I was, but I think society conditions us to think like, oh, I should do this, or I should do that, or I should act this way, or dress this way, or speak this way, or take this career path. In reality, like, yourself kind of gets lost in all of that. My turning points have just been different points in my life of discovering myself and discovering like who I really am, and just kind of like letting that out. Beyond today, you guys will see more turning points in my life. I hope that in 5 years, you guys are going to be like, wow, Emily, look how much you've changed since you were recording that Q&A on the Venice Boardwalk. My goal is to continue to evolve every day of my life, being honest with myself about what makes me happy and doing those things more.
Would you date someone who's not about that gym life?
I thought about this question a lot, and the answer is I don't know what your definition of gym life is. My definition of somebody in the gym life would be the gym is important to them, they work out, they train, they know what they're doing. If it wasn't like their whole life, sure, I have no problem with that, but I will always be interested in somebody that is working hard in the gym most days. I would say probably like a 4-day would be ideal, 6 days is like, that's your whole life, but like 3 to 4 days, I could probably make it work. It's not about the physique, but I do want someone into working out.
Best advice for people that are trying to lose a massive amount of weight?
Do it in a way that is maintainable for your lifestyle, and start with small changes. Don't try to go extreme. Don't try to change everything all at once. Know that you're going to want to quit. Know that you're going to make a lot of mistakes. It's not going to be a linear progression. Know that as long as you don't quit, as long as you keep getting back on your program, then you can make it work. You can make it happen. And then, just some more realistic terms, if you're able to get a coach that does a lifestyle approach to training, I would highly suggest that if you're able to do that. And if you're not, that's okay. There's plenty of free resources online.
How do you keep yourself accountable to sticking to your daily morning routine?
How do I keep myself accountable to my morning routine? For me, it's just taking each day, one day at a time. And I know that's kind of cliche to say, but for me, when I wake up in the morning, I get excited to do life again. I get excited to write down what I'm thankful for, and I write down my intentions. That doesn't mean that there aren't days that I forget or skip, or I like push it to the side. Every weekend, one of the weekend days, Saturday or Sunday, I'll usually skip it. I sometimes allow myself to do that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be lazy today. I'm gonna sleep in, and I'm gonna not do that. But my days are always better when I do it. So for me, it comes down to a daily choice of like, this is my only day to live, and I wanna live it the best that I can.
Why is mindfulness important to you, and how has it changed your life?
Mindfulness is important to me because it reminds me to just be present in the moment, and to take each moment as if it were my last. And again, I know that sounds cliche, but it's not very cliche when you have all these crazy like natural disasters happening, hurricanes, fires, non-natural disasters happening, like shootings. People are there, and then they're boom, gone, like in a second. When you really feel that, especially if you have somebody that you maybe lost, and you feel that like to your core, you take each moment much more serious than you used to. I used to just kind of go throughout life, and I kind of expected the next day to come, and I don't do that anymore. So mindfulness helps to remind me that we're not promised every day.
What kind of visualization techniques do you use?
When I'm doing visualization, I will either literally like visualize it in my mind, or one thing that really helps me is writing it down. And I'll write it down like a journal entry, and I'll write down everything I'm imagining for my life and visualizing for my life. You know, some things that I see in my head over and over again are things like the house in California on the beach that I want to own. And I imagine like the back of the house being like all windows and looking out to the ocean and hearing the waves on the rocks, and seeing the kitchen that's like a huge open floor plan with like the nice granite counters and incredible like stove top. I imagine it down to the smallest detail. I imagine me driving my blacked out McLaren up to the red carpet and then wondering like who's gonna get out of it, you know, because the windows are tinted. And then this boss girl walks out of the McLaren, and there's other things that I imagine. I see myself speaking to like very large groups of people, being in leadership roles with women that are there and helping them. And I'm not exactly sure like how it's gonna pan out. For me, I know that all these things are in my mind and my heart for a reason, and that they're not just like some bullshit that I made up. Like, it's there for a reason, and so I plan to manifest these things and watch them actually happen. You gotta believe it wholeheartedly, so I hope that helps.
What is something that always makes you happy or can turn your day around other than training?
Walking in nature, so being outside, something like being out here, this makes me happy every single time. Going to the ocean makes me incredibly happy, and I'm so thankful to have the luxury to do that. Obviously, now that I have Vinny, this little guy brings so much happiness to my life. You guys have no idea the amount of joy and like just peace that Vinny has brought me. Do you know that?
You can only have one for the rest of your life, pancakes or abs?
Pancakes with syrup and butter.
Will you ever do or try CrossFit?
I did CrossFit for a little while, and I injured my shoulder. Before I injured it, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the competitiveness of it. I don't really agree with them pushing people to their maximum effort when they're still kind of beginners at these Olympic lifts. I think they're called Olympic lifts for a reason. They're like for people that are supposed to be very good at these lifts, but I do enjoy it. It's a great workout.
Were you nervous to start a YouTube channel? If so, what motivated you to keep going and do it?
Yes, I was definitely nervous when I first started, and if you guys go back and watch my very first video, I literally like talked differently to the camera, and I think it's because I was like, I don't know why, but whenever you first start recording with a camera, you like put a camera in front of your face, and then you're like, hi, my name is Emily, and this is what I'm going to do today, and like you just like freak out because you're like, okay, I'm recording myself. But now when I talk to the camera, like I fully feel like I'm just chilling with all my internet friends, like talking to you guys. It helps to just do it. I just had to say, okay, I suck at it. I know that if I practice, I'll get better, and I know one day I won't suck at it. You have to be able to put your pride aside and just do it, even if you're gonna suck in the beginning, because eventually you won't.
Where did you get the dress you're wearing in the picture?
Chris, if you want to borrow the dress, just ask. It's Hot Miami Styles, so Hot Miami Styles online. I buy some of their stuff. It's pretty good. It's kind of see-through, I'm not gonna lie, so I only wore it for the photos. You can wear it as like a swimsuit cover-up.
As a woman in the fitness industry and as a young entrepreneur, how do you handle unwanted male attention?
I live on the boardwalk, and so when I walk on the boardwalk, you get a lot of attention just as a female in general. I'm respectful, I'm polite, and I can go on without my day. As far as like unwanted male attention in the industry, I don't really get that from other like males in the industry. I feel like as long as you're a confident woman that knows what she wants and you know where you're going and headed, like nothing phases you. Even if a guy's disrespectful to me, it doesn't necessarily faze me. Like you have to be very out of line to get any sort of anything from me. Don't let other people make you react. Know who you are, know what you want, be confident in yourself, and you won't be affected by that kind of thing. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up part 1 of the Q&A. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what your favorite question was that I answered, and stay tuned for part 2, which will come in the next few days. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.